Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn and Talk English podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Marcus. Today, we're diving into something that can be really tricky, but also super fun for English learners: idioms and slang.
That's right, Marcus. If you're trying to follow native speakers or enjoy English TV shows, movies, or even YouTube, understanding idioms and slang is absolutely essential.
So, let's start with the basics. What exactly are idioms? Well, think of them as kind of like secret codes. They're phrases where the meaning isn't obvious just by looking at the words. Like, if I say someone kicked the bucket, I don't mean they literally kicked a bucket. It means they died.
Exactly. Idioms are fixed phrases, so you can't just swap the words around. A lot of them come from cultural references and history, which makes them so interesting.
And why do you think they're so important to learn?
Well, native speakers use idioms all the time. If you don't understand them, you might totally miss the meaning and end up feeling confused, like being all at sea.
Haha, great idiom, Emily. And you'll hear them not just in conversation, but in TV shows, movies, and even songs. Knowing them helps you get the humor and emotion behind the words.
All right, let's go through a few common idioms you might hear. One is break the ice. It means to start a conversation, especially when people feel shy or awkward.
Another one I love is spill the beans. It means to reveal a secret. Oops.
Then there's hit the nail on the head. You say it when someone's exactly right.
Or once in a blue moon. That means something happens very rarely.
If it's someone else's turn to take action, we say, the ball is in your court.
And if you're sick, you might say you're under the weather.
If someone's just joking with you, they could be pulling your leg.
Doing something the lazy or cheap way, that's called cutting corners.
Facing a tough situation bravely, that's when you bite the bullet.
And if something is super easy, we say it's a piece of cake.
Now, let's talk slang. Slang is a little different from idioms. It's informal, used by specific groups, and it changes all the time.
Yep, it's like the ever-changing cool side of the language. A way to fit in, sound natural, and express yourself casually.
Slang is everywhere, especially in movies and music. If you want to understand what people really mean, you've got to know the slang.
So let's go through some popular ones.
Cool means something great or fashionable.
Dude, just a casual way to refer to someone, usually a guy.
All-nighter, when someone stays up all night, usually studying or working.
Pig out, to eat a lot, like at a party or buffet.
Screw up means to make a mistake.
Awesome, something amazing or exciting.
Gross means something is disgusting.
Veg out, to chill out and do nothing, like lying on the couch with snacks.
And here are a couple of British slang terms that are becoming popular globally. Bonkers means totally crazy, and queue. That's the British word for a line of people.
So how can you learn idioms and slang?
The best way is through context. Watch shows, listen to music, and just absorb how people use these expressions.
And don't be shy. Ask questions. If you hear something new, ask a native speaker what it means. Most people are happy to help.
You can also keep a notebook or digital diary where you write down new idioms and slang with examples.
And use them. The more you try, the more natural they'll feel.
One last tip, be aware of regional differences. What's slang in the US might be totally different in the UK or Australia.
Like, in the US we say, sweep something under the rug, but in the UK they say, sweep it under the carpet.
And the word pissed in the US means angry, but in the UK, it means drunk.
Mastering idioms and slang does take effort. but it really makes your English sound authentic and natural.
It adds colour, flavour and fun to how you speak. So don't be afraid to experiment.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
And before we go, make sure to like, subscribe and drop a comment below. Let us know your favourite idioms or slang expressions. Or tell us one you've heard but don't quite understand.
And don't forget to stay tuned, because in the next part of this episode, our linguistic experts, Olivia and Jack, will dive even deeper into this topic. They'll break down how idioms and slang evolve, how to use them appropriately, and share more expert tips just for you.
It's going to be packed with insight and practical advice. So listen to the full podcast and feel free to come back and replay it to catch all the vocabulary and expressions.
Until next time.
Happy exploring!
Welcome, everyone, to the Learn and Talk English podcast.
Hello. It's great to be talking with you all today.
Today, we're going to look at some really interesting parts of everyday English.
That's right. We'll be exploring idioms and slang.
Exactly. Things you hear native English speakers use all the time, but maybe they're a bit confusing sometimes.
They certainly can be, but, understanding them is, well, it's really key to understanding conversations better.
And maybe even sounding a bit more natural when you speak English yourself.
Absolutely. It helps you connect more. So we're planning to break them down for you. Keep it simple.
Perfect. So where should we start? Maybe with idioms. What exactly is an idiom?
Okay, idioms. Well, basically, an idiom is a phrase, a group of words.
Uh-huh.
But the important thing is the meaning of the phrase is different from the meaning of the individual words.
Okay, different from the literal meaning. Can you give us an example that might help?
Sure. A really common one is kick the bucket.
Kick the bucket. Right. So literally, that sounds like someone hitting a bucket with their foot.
Exactly. If you just look at the words kick and bucket, that's what you'd think.
But that's not the idiom's meaning.
Not at all. The idiom kick the bucket actually means, well, it means to die.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's completely different from kicking an actual bucket.
It is. And that's the nature of idioms. The meaning is peculiar or special. It's figurative, not literal. You have to learn the whole phrase together.
So you can't just guess the meaning from the words.
Usually not, no, especially with what we call pure idioms. It's like a kind of shortcut, maybe, a special way to say something.
A shortcut.
Yeah.
Or like a shared secret, almost like
Yeah.
people who know English well understand these phrases.
That's a nice way to put it. Yes, it creates a kind of connection. They understand these little private jokes or expressions.
Now, what about the words themselves? Can you change them around? Like instead of kick the bucket, could you say kick a bucket? Does that still mean to die?
Good question. Generally, no. The structure of an idiom is usually fixed.
Fixed. Okay.
If you say kick a bucket, you're probably talking about the literal action, kicking some random bucket.
But kick the bucket, that specific phrase, is the idiom.
Exactly. The exact words in that exact order are usually very important for the idiomatic meaning.
That makes sense. Now, are all idioms the same, or are there different types?
There are different categories, yes. Thinking about them can sometimes help learners. For example, we have pure idioms.
Pure idioms, like the kick the bucket example.
Yes, or another one is spill the beans.
Spill the beans. Okay, literally, that sounds messy. Dropping beans everywhere.
It does. But the idiom means to tell a secret.
Tell a secret. Huh. There's no real connection to actual beans.
None at all. That's why it's pure. The meaning is totally separate from the literal words.
Okay, got it. What's another type?
Then there are binomial idioms. These usually involve two words linked by and or, like by and large.
By and large, what does that mean?
It means generally or mostly. By and large, the project was successful.
I see. Two words together making one meaning. Any others?
We also have partial idioms. Here, part of the phrase might still make some literal sense. Think of when in Rome.
When in Rome. I've heard that, but it feels like half a sentence.
It often is. The full saying is, do as the Romans do. It means you should follow the local customs when you're in a new place.
Ah, okay, so when in Rome is literal, but the implied advice is the idiom.
Precisely. And one more type is prepositional idioms. This is often a verb plus a preposition like look after or agree on.
Agree on, like we need to agree on a plan.
Exactly. Agree on means to share an opinion or reach a decision together. The preposition on changes the meaning slightly from just agree.
So lots of different ways idioms can be formed. But the main point is always, look for that figurative meaning.
That's the key takeaway. Don't just focus on the literal meaning of the individual words. Think about the whole phrase.
And sometimes the meaning comes from history or culture.
Yes, definitely. An example is bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet. Sounds painful.
Well, the meaning is to face something difficult with courage. And it's thought to come from history, when soldiers in surgery, without good painkillers, might literally bite a bullet to cope with the pain.
Wow. Knowing the origin really helps understand the feeling behind it.
It does. It adds depth. And again, remember to use the exact words, bite the bullet, not bite a bullet. The specifics matter.
Okay, idioms are clearer now. Let's switch gears. What about slang? How is that different?
Right, slang. Slang is, well, it's very informal language, very casual.
More informal than just everyday chat.
Oh, yes. It's often used within specific groups of people, like friends or people with the same hobby or maybe teenagers.
So it shows you belong to that group.
Exactly. It can be a way of signaling membership, creating an in-group feeling, and a big thing about slang is it changes a lot and fast.
Changes fast. So a word could be popular slang one year and gone the next.
Absolutely. Slang is very dynamic, very fluid. New words pop up, become cool, and then often disappear just as quickly.
Where does it even come from? How do these new words get made?
Several ways. Sometimes it's just shortening existing words like ticks for tickets.
Ticks, yeah, that's simple enough.
Or sometimes words are combined, blended together, like frenemy.
Frenemy. Friend plus enemy.
Exactly. Someone who is sort of both a friend and an enemy. It captures a specific relationship.
That's quite clever.
Another way is taking an existing word and giving it a completely new slang meaning, like ghosting.
Ghosting, you mentioned that. Like a ghost just vanishes.
Precisely. The word ghost exists, but the slang meaning to suddenly stop all communication with someone is new. It came about with, online dating and messaging.
Ah, okay. So slang can be really creative and expressive.
It can. It helps people feel connected and sometimes say things in a more vivid or concise way than standard English might allow.
Does how you say slang matter? Like your tone of voice?
Oh, definitely. Tone is really important with slang. It can show if you're being serious, funny, sarcastic. It adds another layer.
So it's not just the word, but the delivery too. Now, where should people use slang? Is it okay everywhere?
No, definitely not everywhere. Slang is mostly for casual situations. Talking with friends, maybe texting.
Not for like a job interview.
Absolutely not. Or formal writing, or talking to your boss, probably. You need to be aware of the social context.
The context is key. Who you're talking to, where you are.
Exactly. Using slang in the wrong situation can sound, well, inappropriate or just strange.
And since it changes so fast and is group-specific, that sounds tough for learners.
It is one of the trickier parts. What's cool slang for teenagers in London might be totally unknown to adults in New York, and it might be outdated in 6 months anyway.
So learners shouldn't worry too much about using slang right away.
I'd advise caution, yes. It's often better to focus on understanding slang you hear first.
Understand it, but maybe don't try to use it unless you're really sure.
Exactly, because using it incorrectly or using outdated slang can sound a bit awkward. Or even offensive sometimes if you misunderstand the nuance.
Good advice. Understand first. Use carefully later. Okay, so we've talked about what idioms and slang are. Why is it important for English learners to actually know about them?
Well, it's crucial if you want to truly understand native speakers.
Because they use them all the time.
Constantly. In everyday conversation, idioms and slang are everywhere. If you only know the literal meanings of words, you'll miss a lot. You might misunderstand the whole point of what someone is saying.
Can you give another example? Like an idiom that could cause confusion?
Sure. What if someone says they're feeling under the weather?
Under the weather. Literally, that sounds like they're standing outside in bad rain or something.
Right. But it actually means feeling a little sick or unwell, nothing to do with the actual weather.
Ah, okay. So if you didn't know the idiom, you'd be completely lost.
You might be, yes. And knowing idioms can also help your own English sound more natural, more fluent.
Using them correctly shows a deeper understanding.
It can, yes. And understanding slang helps you connect with the culture, how people really talk informally.
So it's about comprehension, sounding natural, and cultural connection.
That sums it up well. If you don't know these things, you might feel confused listening to people chat or watching movies. You might feel, here's another idiom, all at sea.
All at sea, like lost on the ocean.
Exactly. It means feeling completely confused or lost.
So understanding idioms and slang helps you avoid feeling all at sea. It gives insight into how English speakers think, maybe.
Definitely. Language reflects culture, and these informal parts of language are a big window into that.
And you mentioned movies and TV shows. They use a lot of idioms and slang.
Oh, absolutely. Movies, TV, music, stuff you see online. They're full of them because they try to show how people genuinely speak.
So knowing them makes entertainment more enjoyable.
Much more. You'll understand the jokes better, the character interactions, the subtle meanings. Imagine watching a scene where it's raining heavily and someone says, "Wow, it's raining cats and dogs."
Raining cats and dogs. That's a classic idiom.
It is. It just means raining very heavily. If you
Mhm.
didn't know the idiom, you'd be wondering where the animals are.
Right. Understanding the idiom makes the scene make sense.
And sometimes, a really popular movie or TV show can even make a slang word famous or bring an old one back.
Ah, so pop culture influences slang too.
It definitely can. It's all connected.
This has been really helpful. So, idioms are fixed phrases with non-literal meanings, often rooted in culture, while slang is informal, group-specific language that changes quickly.
That's a good summary. And both are super important for understanding real-world English.
We really hope this discussion has helped clear things up for our listeners.
Yes, we hope you now feel a bit more comfortable with these interesting parts of English. They really do make the language more colorful.
Keep listening and practicing, and you'll start noticing them everywhere.
Absolutely. Keep listening to the Learn and Talk English podcast. We'll have more tips for speaking English naturally.
Please do stay tuned for our next episode.
And if you found this chat useful today, maybe give it a like.
Yes, please do. And subscribe so you don't miss out on our future lessons. Thanks for joining us.